Hello and welcome to the Morningstar series, Why Should I Invest With You? I'm Emma Wall and I'm joined today by Joshua Crabb, Head of Asian Equities for Old Mutual Global Investors. Hi Joshua.
Good morning.
So India is a very topical conversation at the moment because of what's going on at the World Economic Forum in Davos. The IMF came out with figures at the beginning of this week saying that India would drive global growth next year. And indeed then Prime Minister Modi got up and was very positive about the outlook for India. Do you share that optimistic view?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, this is just a very, very simple catch-up story to me. We've seen this with going way back over time, the US catching up with Europe, then Japan catching up with the US, then Korea catching up, Taiwan and China, and now it's time for India. And that productivity gain is going to drive much stronger growth than we're going to see anywhere else in the world for an extended period of time.
Now, how does that translate to investors? Because, of course, economic growth does not necessarily mean stock market growth.
Absolutely. So many people forget that. It's one of those things, it's helpful, and you need markets where that actually translates into outcomes that are good for an investment. Now, one of the big problems you have with India is it's a great story, and like great stories, it comes with a great price. So it's quite an expensive market. It's done very well, particularly since the election of Modi. And this is where we think you need to be not so focused on the index level, because there are lots of parts of the market, but you really need to delve into what are going to be the specific stories that you're going to make money out of.
And what are those specific stories?
Well, for us, we've seen this starting to play out. If we think about India till now, and I'd say everyone would agree with the structural story. And people will tell you that structural story has been there for a long period of time for the catch-up. Modi is the catalyst. You've had political issues in the past. We haven't had like one, party dominating, and now that's the catalyst that's changed. Now, this is where I guess we differ from quite a few other people, because over time, India has still been a decent investment case. People have owned IT services companies, pharmaceuticals companies, a lot of these export-orientated companies. You've got a small amount of very highly educated people at much cheaper labour costs, and that's been the story. Now, when we think about what it's going to take India forward from there, it's going to be very different. And what it's going to be about is it's going to be getting back to my point before. It's going to be what China did, what Korea did, what Taiwan did, what the US did. It's about taking underemployed people in rural areas, getting them working in full-time jobs, being able to take some of that money they earn, buy a motorbike, start to save a bit of money, maybe buy a house, and it kickstarts it. Now, in order to do that, the one thing India needs above all else is infrastructure. Power, roads, rail. It doesn't have it. Anyone who's been there can see that. You can land into the nice new airports that they've got in Delhi and Mumbai now, but after that, there's not much. And that's what they need to do. Now, people already have the mindset that that's sort of bad in Asia, because people think about the overinvestment in places like China. And China is going through a very different change. That's going through its consumption change. And we think they're the areas you really want to be focused on. People think steel's bad. People might think that cement's bad, these type of areas, but these are the ones which are cheap within the market context, and that's what's important. So these things that have been terrible for many years, because there hasn't been that growth, are now going to be good investments. And within the market that looks quite expensive, a lot of these are still very cheap.
Is India your favourite Asian economy, or Asian stock market, I should say, because you do have a remit across all of Asian equities?
Yeah, look, I never try to think about it as just there's one thing to do. You need to look at, multi-facets, otherwise you're just betting on red and black. So, for us, India as a market has been a very good market. Now I think it's much more about what you own within that market. In the shorter term, we probably think other markets like China are more interesting. Why? They're cheap. They're hated. You go back a year ago, the RMB was going to collapse, the banking system was going to collapse, the real estate market was going to collapse. The Chinese market's up, probably 50 to 60% since the lows. It's still on a single-digit multiple when you look at the HSCEI. And, you don't have those same structural stories maybe as much, but you've got other things going on. Pollution control is having massive impacts, creating massive investment opportunities. The banking sector is very cheap, generally very hated, but a very, very attractive sort of in the sort of short term. And so that's a market that we quite like. Moving to another area, quite similar to India, is Indonesia. Indonesia, very large population, very low penetration, very similar story on fixed asset investment. Not quite as clear cut on the politics, it's not quite as the same mandate that Modi has, but still that great opportunity, and because of that more uncertainty at a cheaper price. So there are lots of them. I could talk about Vietnam, I could talk about various other markets as well, artificial intelligence, to talk about something that's a little bit more sort of edgy, but there are lots and lots of opportunities, and what we're trying to do is have quite a few of these differentiated alpha sources sitting in what we're doing.
Joshua, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
This is Emma Wall from Morningstar. Thank you for watching.